Time for a new update. It's now Tuesday, so as we know, Monday and Tuesday are often the times that Bitcoin and other coins put in their weekly P1, which means that oftentimes on the Monday or Tuesday you get the high, the weekly high or the low. So let's quickly go over Bitcoin overview and then into what's next for this week. We took liquidity, as we know, and then we had that strong bounce. A lot of people started shorting in here, but there was no confirmation. And then here we broke this meme trend line, after which prices only made higher lows, and now it took out this liquidity point. We kind of, I think, more or less created equal highs here. Yes, so that's a liquidity point. Let's erase that. And then if we look, price has been very strong. We broke our 4-hour structure back to bullish right here. And then we are really close to this liquidity point, and then the next liquidity point is already a new all-time high. So what's my bias? If we look at the structure, we broke this trend line, we broke our structure also back to bullish. Then we have a 4-hour demand zone created here on Monday, and now we are in the middle of this, kind of in the upper part of the range. So technically everything is bullish. Our market structure right now on the 1 hour is right here, and on the 4-hour it's still right here in this demand zone. So what I'm looking at for this week is to look for continuation longs towards this high, and then ultimately a new all-time high. We have some pretty good looking demand right here. Here we have our fib levels. So my main idea is to look for higher lows for continuation longs, potentially into new all-time highs. But we can use statistics to make a bit more of a good formed bias, because if we look at the pivots right now, for the daily, we have daily high at hour 0, daily P2 at hour 8. That's not too interesting. What's more interesting is to look at the weekly pivots. We have our current P1 right here for the week, and the current weekly P2 is also on Monday. So we have Monday's low and Monday's high. That's the weekly P1 and P2. And now it's going to be interesting which one we take out. It's just similar as last week, which means that we have our P1 here, a P2 here, and then since now it's Tuesday, so what could change my bias is that if we, for example, today take out Monday's high, then break back below it, and then this could be our new weekly P1 in the making, in which we then have our high at Tuesday, and then we could still get that rotation lower where we take out our weekly low and then get a bearish week. That would be the only case that I'm really interested in shorts. That would be if we today take out our Monday's high and then see sellers step in. If they don't do that, so if we don't sweep the current Monday's high today, then I think we will create a local range somewhere between here. Maybe today see some sideways, but then overall I'm interested in looking for long triggers, which could be anything like this, where we deviate the lows, take some liquidity here, and then if we have like a range replaying, then I will be very interested in longs. And then we can also just have a look at statistics. What are statistics saying? Let's go to the day. As I just said, we have for the daily, see, New York has just begun, but we have the daily P1 at hour 0 and daily P2 at hour 8. Just from, based on that, I can already say that probably the daily high is a bit stronger, but let's see what stats say. Current day, moderate P1 flip risk, and like that P2 is in, low P1 flip risk. Yeah, so these stats tell me that the current daily high, which is right here, is a bit stronger, and that it's likely to make a new low, but it's all not too significant. We can also see that 96.1% of the days have a bigger wick. So this current wick right here is very low, so oftentimes price likes to take it out. But when price action hasn't done much, and yeah, P1 and P2 are both not that significant, then I usually don't take it into my analysis. So let's look at the week. Here on the week, this is our P1 and this is our P2. So let's see. Time statistics. Moderate P1 flip risk. 39.4% of the week took out P1. So that's slightly favoring that this is holding. Then unlikely that P2 is in. 95.2% of the weeks from a new P2. Okay, so that means that we either make a new P2 on Tuesday or Wednesday, or if we take out that low. And then distance statistics. Low P1 flip risk. 21.3% of the weeks took out the weekly low. So based on distance statistics, it shows that this low, it's unlikely, like only in 21.3% of the times price would make from the low this move up to the highs and then take out the low again. So on distance statistics, it shows that this low is pretty strong. Then unlikely that P2 is in. 92.9% of the weeks moved further than 5.1%. That shows that there's a lot of room for upside or downside, that there's enough room this week. So as I just said, only for me to become bearish locally is that if we took out the high today, then sweep that Monday's high, then that could be our weekly high and that we get continuation lower. Or at least I would like to position myself, if that presents itself, to get in a short here, use a wider stop, and then in case that is the weekly high, then I'm positioned for that. Other than that, I'm not really interested in shorts, then I'm only interested in longs. Because if we, for example, today retrace and tomorrow when it's Wednesday take out the weekly high, then this is our weekly P1, then this becomes our weekly P2, in which this P1 becomes very, very strong, and statistics will show us that higher prices from there are much more likely. So that's also the reason why I wanted to see Monday's high be taken out today, in order to get a potential bearish situation. If we don't take it out today, then I think we will have a bullish week on our hands. And then I'm interested in longs anywhere in this region. So that's the plan, and we can look at the pivot zones. Last week I showed this multiple times and it worked out great, where we could see that this is our pivot zone. So from here, this is the P1 zone. That's where 80% of the weekly P1s get formed within this box. And then if we have a bullish week, price has a 80% probability to at least make its way into that upper box. And the same way when we have a bearish week into that lower box. As we know, oftentimes price likes to put in the weekly P1 early in the week. So now you could also say, will this one be our weekly P1, which is the low and is around the middle of the P1, or this could be the early week P1. So then this could potentially be the high, but what I just said, I would like to see one more tap of that high, and then that could be the high for the week in which we get bearish continuation. But for now, market structure and all are pointing higher. So I need to see some more data, but we can see if we continue to go lower, for example, and then tomorrow take out that high, then new all-time highs are very likely to see in the coming week. So gonna be important what we see today. We can also look at let's erase that. The New York session has just begun. So for this New York session, what I'm looking at, which is started from 12 to 15, is like the hit zone. If we take out the high during the New York session, early New York session, and get a bearish move, then that would be the short trigger for me to at least ride it towards these levels and then see what happens from there. Other than that, I'm not really seeing any good structure. Then I would be interested to get a range formation and then just play that range. That's the plan for BTC based on statistics and technical analysis. Then a quick view at USDT dominance, which is a very accurate chart. last week we pushed into that pretty aggressively into that supply, and then we, on the first step of that supply, we directly saw pretty harsh rejection. And like last video I said that we got that retracement, but the overall structure was still up, which we were making higher lows and higher highs. And then I said here we created some new supply, but unless we break below this low, we are technically in a local uptrend. However, now we have confirmed break of that bullish structure, so now we have a bearish structure, in which the overall expectation is that we can form a new lower high for a lower low. But as I shared this morning in the Telegram as well, is that I will not be surprised that I expected some more downside, that we form a range right here, and here we have some demand, so then we can see if we start to accumulate here, that will be a warning sign that we might get some upside for this chart, which means that crypto goes down. So that's something to monitor. I will put an alert at this low right there, and then just observe this chart. For BTC, I think plans are clear. ETH, strong push, taking out the high we have and potentially forming a potential distribution. I will not play it like it is right now, because this last push from here, it's all pretty aggressive. So bulls are in control, so I'm not blindly kind of shorting. What I'm looking at is to see if we get that weakness. Here we have a little supply a little bit high, I'll be testing it right now. And then see if we can tap into that and then get some time displacement, maybe even a local. Maybe if we're in a New York session, take that high out again and then break our structure back to bearish right here. But I will be interested in a lower high formation tomorrow, in which this is R1, this is R2. And then if we create our weekly high here on Tuesday and we break lower, and then tomorrow get like a break of structure, then the lower high here is very high probability to play, in which your invalidation would be your weekly high, and then we can aim for these liquidity levels right here and this low ultimately here again. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for now. Not in a hurry to get into a short or get into a long here. If price manages to break above this level, then we can quite quickly make our way to much higher levels, in which I would target these levels, because this is a pretty important SR level, which has been resistance right here retested multiple times. So if you get your confirmed break above it, then any retest of this level is basically a continuation long until proven otherwise. And then the picture for ETH can quite quickly start to change towards pretty bullish outlooks, in my opinion. So yeah, let's not fade it already. It's still Ethereum, but who knows. A quick Sol, also analyzed this yesterday. We still have this more important structure above us, in which we can reject. For now, it is a very good bounce, but technically we are still trending down. And what you often see is that price likes to go towards those important market structure levels, and then SFP it, take the liquidity. Everyone thinks it's a breakout, break of structure, and then after that you directly go lower, aka you SFP this level. And if you have your local break of structure, you can take a short and then target these lower levels, because Sol is leaving a lot of liquidity behind. So what I'm currently looking at is that we might, like here, have a local starting range, high, low, there, and then here we have our market structure high, that we might get something like this, take out that high, break structure, get into a short here, stop above that SFP high, and then target liquidity at the lower levels. That's what I'm currently looking, so I have my alerts ready for that. Where am I interested in? Yeah, like here we have some demand. So if we retrace to that level, I might look for longs. But for now, I don't really see the long setup. I don't like how we have these lows all build up. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on this SFP level for potential shorts. ETH clear, Bitcoin clear. Yeah, let's see what New York brings. Often times New York gives us the action. So alerts are ready, and then from tomorrow we got some more reliable data to work with. So yeah, let's wait for the setups. If you have any questions, just let me know as always. And yeah, then we got a good trading week ahead of us. Cheers.